The notorious Draft Boys! Welcome back to Draft Boys, the OFPL Draft Podcast. As always, joined by Miles, Hito, and myself, Whitey. Lads, how we doing?
So good. Ready to rumble.
Oh, you like that? Yeah, I don't know what that was about this week, but I just felt the notorious sounded right.
100% Hito's ready to rumble. Like, Ronnie's off to a good start. Pogba's going well. Like, all of his people that he's picked up off the waiver have just, like, turned into gold.
The boys climbing. The boys climbing. I haven't moved yet on the ladder, but I'm coming.
If only if it was off his own back and not just being such a Thomas the Tank Engine.
Look, that's an attribute, you know. It was strategic. It was on purpose.
Talk about right place, right time, though. Bottom of the table is a good place to be.
Mate, I'll tell you what, Hito, last year I picked up Bamford from that one of those first waivers, and I ended up winning the league. So it could be your year, buddy.
It could be. You comparing Paddy B to Ronnie, or?
Oh, just that you get, like, you know, you get 200 points from nowhere type thing, you know?
Yeah, I know.
That's what we'd like to see.
It's very disappointing. I'm not salty at all.
No, you sound totally on board, mate.
I'm so annoyed. It's like the perfect reward for drafting terribly.
Oh, mate.
Rude. I told you I wasn't salty.
Yeah, clearly not.
Yeah. All right, boys. Look, why don't we get straight into it? I want to talk about points. So, I mean,
you should probably go first, mate.
I know. Okay. Look, this week is not a fair representation of my team. I think.
Oh yeah.
Hito, shut up, okay? Mr. Ronnie, you bloody one-trick pony. All right. 27 points is what I got. I had fucking every bloody injury possible, and I drafted with injuries too. Foden and Rashford have been on my bench this whole time. Still second in the league. But yeah, no, real tough league. So Semedo got 6 points. That's all I have to say. Oh, and Aspi with a late assist coming on, and Gray getting me another goal 3 in 3 weeks. Pretty happy with that.
Oh, keeping you alive.
Keeping me alive. But yeah, the injuries were tough, and red cards and shit. Wasn't good. Anyway, Milo, I think who's next? Who got the next biggest week?
Look, I'll go. I think I did have the bigger week than Hito, possibly. I haven't seen the
I got you by 1 point, baby.
You got me? All right, I'll go next then. Look, I got a goal from Fernandez, and Antonio got me -1, but my defense was just so good, you know, like Cancelo and, you know, Creswell, Alonso, Van Dijk, everyone got me clean sheets as well as Edison. So if I've got any chance of winning this league, I think my defense is going to have to carry me through.
It's always the defense, that like when you're having a shit week attacking wise and you just see all these cleanies pop up, you're like, oh, thank God for that.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of got saved.
They're underrated, the defense. Like, it is an underrated part of the game, for sure.
Yeah. Well, man, you're lucky as well that they allowed the Brazilian players, Edison. Because you had Edison, you have Edison and Allison. They both could have not. You could have had 0 keeper this week.
I know, and I picked the wrong one, didn't I?
Yeah. Luckily, it was only 3 points difference.
Yeah, I'll take it. But Hito, I've taken enough time. Talk to us.
Well, I bipped you by 1 point, as I said before. So 53 this week. Not a bad haul. And,
is that your biggest week in, like, since you won the trophy?
Pretty much.
2 years ago?
Maybe.
The pause. So good.
I've got some good scores last season.
We're not salty at all, dude.
No, you're not. I feel like I'm gonna get this all season now. So I'm preparing myself. Got thick skin, but yeah, points
not
from Ronnie,
buddy. I like it.
Well, points from Ronnie. So 13. Pogba with 9, and then a couple of defensive points from Wolves players. Picked up the Wolves keeper this week.
He just glazed over Ronnie, Points from Ronnie, points from Ronnie, whatever.
He's going to be so used to saying it this year, you know.
But if there's any time to be excited, it's now.
I was just adding some content for, you know, the Man U game when we get to it. I don't want to
But you can tell us how fucking excited you are.
Look, pretty stoked. Pretty stoked, to be honest. Not often I'm stoked by a Man United result, but I was on the weekend.
I bet.
Nice. Well, yeah. Does that cover you there, Heat? Were they your main performers?
That's my main returners. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into Snack Chat. Now, Snack Chat, as we keep saying, is not the same as it used to be right now because we're still locked down. We can't bring snacks to each other. But normally we would rate and berate each other's drinks and snacks that they bring for the pod. But yeah, this week, yet again, we're just going to be doing our own thing. Miles, what do you got this week?
Yeah, so I just had my second jab yesterday, so my snack today is just Nurofen. I'm just snacking on a few painkillers.
Crunchy.
And I'm washing them down with my classics at the moment: Heineken, the Champions League drink of choice.
Brekkie beers.
Brekkie beers, yeah.
So welcome back the week of Champions League.
That's it.
So
what about
good.
you, Hito? What you got?
Boys, I've got a bit of a curveball for you this week. You might be a bit surprised at me. I had a little work gift package arrive. Again, I've been treated for being a good boy, and I'm going for a Moondog craft beer.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
But is it zero alcohol?
No, it's alcoholic, 4.5%. Old Mate Pale Ale.
Nice. Well done. That sounds interesting.
Back,
You're going to hate that.
Yeah, well, let's see.
All right. Well, I've gone crafty too. I've got a Stone and Wood Cloud Catcher, which I'm excited about. Yeah, I'm just gonna crack that bad boy. Fuck,
Cloud Catcher, would that be a cider or is that still a beer?
No, it's a beer. It's a what do they? Oh, it's a pale ale. It's a pale ale.
Oh,
it's quite delicious. It's in a bottle, not a tin, for a change. So
love it.
Back to the old school. Oh wait,
no man, I cracked one for you.
Did you?
I whispered.
Okay, nice.
All right.
Cheers,
boys.
Cheers. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Game week 5.
Game week 5. Okay. Now, to kick us off, we're going to preview Newcastle versus Leeds. Newcastle played United and got smashed. Ronald had something to say about that. Yep. Not the McDonald kind. And Leeds got beaten 3-0 by Liverpool. So continuing that kind of bad run to the start of this season that they've been having. Yeah, boys, Newcastle. It was one big thing to me.
Yeah.
That fucking counter.
That's good, hey?
Dude, that was juicy.
Yeah.
That was like such a good run from Almiron. Laid it off for ASM, who'd like basically perfectly flicked it on, and such a good finish too. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was a nice goal. Made a bit spicy, 1-1.
The fact that it was to draw at 1-1 was just, it was very nice. Yeah. Very nice. I mean, it went south from there, but very nice.
Yeah.
I will say, the scoreline, I know that United deserved to win and stuff, but I thought that Newcastle played quite well. And I think that there are, a few fantasy assets that we could start to consider. What's their fixtures looking like, Heath?
Yeah, so obviously Leeds this week, and then they've got Watford, Wolves, Spurs, Palace. So not too bad.
Yeah.
Wolves,
I just
not great though.
I just don't see them beating so many of those teams. Like, I feel
not
like
at the moment.
This will be Leeds' chance to get out, get a result for me.
Oh yeah.
I just think that like Newcastle are bottom of the pecking order at the moment. But they do have some interesting fantasy assets regardless who, are kind of consistently getting returns. I mean, Saint Maximin has been a name floating around a bit. He's not getting big hauls, but he's definitely involved, and he does look pretty up for it this season.
Yeah, he's chipping away. He's got 2 assists, 1 goal, 4.
For sure. As a third striker, I think that you can't really go by him at the moment.
Yeah.
I know there's a few more options that we'll be talking about later in the pod, but if he's available and the other ones aren't, I think he's a goer.
Yeah, I'd say so too. He's definitely the kind of player that might play outside of the form of that team. Okay, let's talk about Leeds. Another loss for them. In fairness, it was against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Hito, what did you think of Leeds in that game?
Oh man, before the red card, it was probably one of the most exciting games I've watched this season when both teams were just gunning for it. There was, I think, about 15 or 20-minute period there where it was just counter after counter, and it was so open and exciting. They just struggled a little bit with that final shot. They looked threatening, but it didn't come to too much. A few little chances here and there. I think Rafinha had a chance, but he shot it straight at Alisson.
That red card. Who got the red card?
It was Strauch. He came on for an injured defender, and then he got the red.
That was
a bit
brutal.
unlucky, but I think it's justified for the level of damage that he did.
Yeah, I agree. That long range chip attempt from Paddy B was so spicy.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah, but besides that, they didn't excite me too much. Obviously, it's against Liverpool, but I'm just hoping this doesn't play out long term. This form.
Yeah, I would say anyone who kind of went hard on Leeds is probably suffering right now. I'm glad I don't have them at the moment. We'll see. I'm sure that'll change. But so this week we're introducing a new thing. Normally we do our predictions and we all take our turns and we decide, the score and we take a guess. But we thought it might be more fun that we host a vote, win, lose or draw. We can all vote for one. And then we'll just quickly have a discussion about why we think that and who we think might score. So why don't we start with a vote for Leeds win?
Yeah, I'm on
I
Leeds
vote for
win.
that. Yeah. First vote's unanimous. Oh, yes. Now, we can't agree every week, boys. But, I just feel like, as we said, Newcastle just don't seem like... It seems like the week that Leeds is going to get a result.
It's the fixture you would like. So. And they haven't lost a key player with the red card or anything crazy. And who knows, we might see Dan James with a start this week after coming on as a sub.
Yeah, for sure. He is definitely an interesting player that I think everyone's going to be watching. I'm sure he's picked up in most leagues. Okay, and is it going to be a convincing win, or is it going to be just grinding one out and getting a result?
I actually think that it's going to be something crazy like 3-2 or something. From what I saw from Newcastle last week, I think that they can score some goals, and I think Leeds will really put it on, especially with their run of fixtures. This could be the start of a massive haul for Leeds players.
Okay, so can we agree on a number here, boys? I would say, what did you say, Miles? 3-2?
Yeah.
I'll back that.
Yeah, I think that could be close. It could be spicy.
Okay, let's move on to our next fixture here. Wolves versus Brentford. Wolves played Watford and won 2-0. And Brentford played Brighton and lost 1-0. Wolves. I think this might be the start of something, especially with that run of fixtures.
Definitely. 100%, man. Like, me personally, I picked up Wolves defenders, like a keeper and a defender for this run.
Yeah, I picked up Semedo.
And taking that, 12 points return straight up from 2 players, I'm very happy with that. So,
yeah. No, that was good. You had a good week on the waiver, for sure. Some was earned, some wasn't. But don't worry, mate. The low blows won't stop there. But yeah, I think Wolves was a no-brainer almost. And like with the amount of chances they were putting on goal, and they got a new striker to kind of help Himi up there. He seems a little bit similar in build. I'm not really sure in terms of style of play, but he looks maybe to be kind of a similar strong center forward.
Yeah, target man.
He's not small, but he kind of bundled one in there. But good to get one in on your debut.
They actually call him the Bull. That's his nickname.
Oh, really? Well, he was a bull in a China shop when he scored the goal.
Yeah, it was a bit, wasn't it?
I think that brings us on to a really good point. We had a question from, I think it was Beth82 or something like that, and she asked us about a waiver debate between Hwang and Edouard from Palace. What do you guys think?
I already know where I'm leaning towards. I guess they both came off the bench.
Yeah.
But, shit. I think that Edouard had the more impactful debut, as well as he's going into a team that has not been strong up front for a long time. And he's got some pretty good statistics to go along with it.
He scored a lot of goals at Celtic. I think he scored something like it was a lot. It was like 50 goals over like
2 seasons or something. He had like 20+ seasons. Oh, I don't know. It was oh god, we're bumbling over our stats here. Someone's our stat guy is looking it up right now.
Got you covered.
That's my typing sound.
So I'd be agreeing with you until we get that stat, but I really like Edouard long term. I think that Hwang's going to be battling with Jimenez for the season.
For sure. Edouard, like, how can you just
play himself in? Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that concerns me he has scored a lot of goals. I haven't got the total, but last season 18, 22 the season before, 15 the season before. So he's got a good run of goals in him. My only concern is that it was against a 10-man Tottenham, who were quite struggling mentally in that game. So I'm not sure about Palace.
But yeah, I do agree with you in some way, but there's no better way to start your career with that kind of confidence. And we've seen what confidence does. And we'll get to Palace in a bit, but fuck, Zaha looks up for it. Like after watching that game, there's the first time in a long time that I was like, whoa, Zaha was like fucking keen.
Yeah, because he just wasn't being a little bitch. You remember we said that before?
Dude, he was so sulky.
But, I really liked it. I think Gallagher's been in his ear, which we'll chat about later. But just to round out that debate, I think that, Edouard, even though he did score against the 10-man Palace that Hito mentioned, I think that Palace were dominating Tottenham before he even came on. And I think that Palace will continue this form. I think that they're looking good since the first game. They've built on what they've been doing. So
there's definitely a signs of improvement. That's for sure. Like we were all pretty nervous, and I think the signings are they're making a difference. And anyway, we'll talk about Palace when we get to them. But yeah, I think for me, why don't we vote on it now? I'm voting Edouard.
Me too.
Yeah, I would slightly lean. I'm about 55% Edouard as well. For me, I think the attack of Wolves is stronger as a team for Hwang to benefit from than Edouard.
I just think he's going to get less minutes, though.
But that's why I'm leaning him, because I think he will play.
Yeah,
that's the 5%, isn't it?
Yeah, he's guaranteed to play more. And
okay,
that's where I sit.
All right, I'm with you. So unanimous, Edouard.
All right. Let's talk about Brentford, but there's probably not too much to go through it. Whitey, why don't you just take us through a couple of talking points about Brentford?
Oh, my boy Tony nearly floated one in from like halfway.
Oh, it was a nice chip too. It wasn't like the lofty chip. It was that low kind of just
direct. It was just really nice.
The bottom of the ball as it just slowly lifts.
And he was so lackadaisical as he hits it. He's just like, I have a pop. And the ball represented that too. It was just like, shoo. And anyway, it didn't go in.
Far off in the end.
It didn't go in, but us Tony owners can dream. So and Mbeumo was, I guess, the other highlight from this game. Even though they lost, he had some good chances. He's playing really high up the pitch. I just don't know what's going to happen with Brentford. It is a really competitive Premier League this year, like crazy competitive.
And their fixtures are horrendous.
Yeah, they're going to go through a pretty tough time. So, yeah, I think the only guys worth mentioning that team are Tony and Mbeumo for now. There's not really much else to say. How about we get a prediction here? Let's get a little vote going.
I'm voting Wolves.
Yeah, I'm voting Wolves.
I think we could see a draw.
Okay. So the majority goes us.
I'm losing 2 win.
And okay, what do we think? If it is a win, Wolves, I think 2-1. I think
I think
Brentford do
2-0.
have a goal.
No, I don't.
I think if Wolves win it, yeah. I don't know. It's hard to. I think it could be close.
All right.
I like Wolves' defense. You know, I think they'll keep a clean sheet.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to our next game here. Burnley versus Arsenal. Everton beat Burnley 3-1, and Arsenal lost. Oh, sorry, won. Sorry, I'm so used to saying that. My bad. Arsenal won 1-0 against Norwich. So yeah, Burnley, our boy, our big boy
Yeah.
Ben Mee.
Ben Mee.
Shout out to the one and only.
Big Ben Mee, yeah, he deserved it. Like he really got in some good chances from set pieces this game, and yeah, you know, he does have that set piece goal.
200th Prem appearance as well. Good on him. Good on him. We love him.
Yeah, he got on top of that header, but I think Everton fucked up a bit there. Their main defender left the huddle of tall boys waiting for a cross as he went out to close down the follow-up cross, which led to the goal. So a bit poor from Everton leading to that.
Yeah. Guys, anything interesting you from a Burnley perspective against Arsenal? Do you think maybe their defense can keep Arsenal out, who haven't been crazy prolific, as we all know?
I don't think so. I think Arsenal will probably end up winning this game again. But just from a Burnley kind of fixture perspective, it doesn't look fantastic for me in the next 4. They do Arsenal, Leicester, Norwich, and City. So like, I don't think this is the run of fixtures that we want for any Burnley player. So I think that we should just probably move on to Arsenal.
Yeah. Okay. Now Arsenal won 1-0 against Norwich. They've got a win on the board, and albeit a sweaty one, but they got one.
First goal of the season.
Oh my god, I laughed so hard at that.
It was like the most classic goal that you'd expect for them to finally get one over. It was such a mess.
It was disgusting in so many ways. It actually was quite a nice attempt from Pepe that came off the post, and it was just such a fucking mess after that. And I was just laughing. Like, as it was happening, I'm like, oh my god, is this their first goal?
Yeah.
And it went in, and I was like, oh, okay.
And the fans celebrated like it was a worldie. So funny. But yeah, I was a bit, obviously, I think the fact that they were more attacking is a nice promising sign, but you'd hope they'd get, convert a few more against Norwich.
Yeah. And Odegaard looks like he's getting into the team a bit. They kind of needed that creative spark in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, I think between him and Smith Rowe, they actually do have some creativity there. They're kind of similar to me, those guys, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
They've got decent pass on them and definitely get forward in the box. Yeah.
And they've just got awesome fixtures, guys. They've got, like, for the next, 6 or 7 games, they only play Tottenham and Leicester. And the rest of the teams are quite winnable, even for an Arsenal standard. Sorry, Arsenal fans. But yeah, I think that if there are a couple of attacking players, it's probably a good time to jump on them.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Like, with a win under the belt now, it changes things from a week ago. They could have lost against Norwich, and then we were like, oh my God, it's over.
Yeah. And they had a lot of their main starters come back in, and the defense looked a lot more like their starting 11. So maybe some defensive options for this run of fixtures.
Okay, so let's lead into our prediction for this week. Who do we reckon's going to win this one?
I vote Arsenal, guys.
I vote Arsenal.
I was just typing up Arsenal's defense, but after one game, I'm not sure how convinced I am.
Wow, brutal from Tom Heaton.
I'm being outdone by the majority.
You're outvoted, but your hesitancy is noted.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to our next game. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Oh my God, Hito, you must be nervous after that Palace result.
I am.
Oh my
For sure.
As long as we don't go into 10 men, I think we're all right.
Okay.
Palace is...
We'll tell you that back to you.
Palace in history has been a little bit of a bogey team for Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
Mate,
it'll be interesting.
that's long gone now. We've wiped the floor clean with them over the
Oh,
last few
I
seasons. So
love this. Listen
What?
to him. He is just setting himself up to fail.
Dude, the scars from, who was it? Dwighty Gale scoring off his left and scoring off his right in that
mate,
famous victory.
it was that long ago, mate. He's in an old age home now. That was so long ago.
Oh my God. Dwight Gale is at Newcastle, mate. In an old care home.
All right. Let's talk. Let's talk about Liverpool. They beat Leeds 3-0.
Yeah.
Hato, as our resident Liverpool fan, talk us through the game. What are we liking?
I think we looked really strong, boys. I'm liking this run of performances we're putting together, and I think the biggest blow is obviously the injury to Elliott. The fact that we're now talking about who to fill his spot just shows you how well he's done. And I think
it's sad to me. I just think that could really fuck up his career. Like we've seen it so many times at that age, how long these injuries take to come back from.
Yeah. I hope it's not too bad because it was just a dislocation and they had surgery really quickly. Fingers crossed it's not too long, but I think he was starting to shape an interesting option in midfield for fantasy because he was playing a little bit more creatively than we typically have. So I think we've lost that option now in FPL. But obviously the main guys like Salah looked amazing, tapping in his 100th Prem goal. Man is just a beast. Fabinho getting a tap in from a kind of corner rebound. Not too much of a regular scorer there. But overall, we just looked really strong. But then the red card turned the game. So,
yeah, I think so too. And we've actually got another talking point from a fan. I forgot who sent this one in. Sorry about that. But someone asked us what they would do on a Mane for Pogba trade.
Oh,
interesting one.
Jesus.
This is a really interesting one. I think they have Mane and they've been offered Pogba. What would you guys be doing? Are you holding Mane or are you getting on the Ronnie train for those assists to Pogba?
You know what this sounds like to me? I mean, I know Pogba's had a great start to the season, like no doubting that. But we have not typically seen a lot of points from Pogs, fantasy-wise, and the times that we have, he's been on pens. But, like, yes, he could get a lot of assists this season, and he totally looks up for it. But this just looks like someone taking advantage of a good run of form for a player that, like, Mane is, like, pretty much nailed on. He's had some not great performances, but I just feel like Mane is going to outscore Pogba this season when you look at it.
I'm so close because I agree with you, but I just think that, Pogba stayed because Ronaldo came. Like that's been evident and it's been documented. And I just think that it has. Like,
mate, good. I love it. Like it's been documented. Like who is creating these documents?
Mileage got some contacts inside at Man U, man. He's got visibility on the new Pogs contract.
Yeah, it's coming in with his new 5G connection from his vaccination. He's just like, I'm getting some documentation at Man United.
He's hacking the mainframe.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I would have to stick with Mane if I had to make a decision, but I am so tempted on Pogba just because he just looks so good, and I think that United are going to score more goals than Liverpool. That's why.
Wow. I just have to disagree. Like, I just think that Pogba also has had such a good start to this season, but he was playing further up the pitch, and I know he still got an assist when he wasn't.
Yeah,
but I just don't think
this is perfect because we've got a for and against, and Hater can make the decision for our fan because they need a decision.
I feel like he's going to be biased at the moment though because he's hating on Mane.
No, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
No, he won't.
It is hard because I'm torn between, the brain and being logical instead of the heart, which is being emotional at the moment because I am annoyed at Mane's performances. And he did take 10 shots this game. He was pretty dreadful, but he still gets a goal.
And the goal he scored wasn't terrible either.
No, it wasn't terrible. It's just towards the back end of last season, I started hating on some of his touches and his work rate and finishing. And I feel like we've maybe seen the best of him. Like, I'm not saying he's going to drop dramatically.
Oh.
I don't think we're going to see him go to the next level. I think he is what it is now.
I do agree with that.
I think, yeah, to be honest, if you're a Liverpool fan, maybe keep, because it's always nice having a player in your team as a non-strategy.
You have to pick a side here, mate. You can't say ifs. You just pick a side.
Make a decision, buddy.
Yeah, just do it now. What's
go
the name?
Pogba.
Oh no! Can we please document this shit? I really hope. I want to come back on this.
I'd take the risk.
It's documented. It's documented as much as.
I feel risky.
I
feel risky this week instead of the safety of history.
It's the beer. It's the beer.
It's the beer. It's doing things to me, boys.
I know. Oh my god, how are you going with the beer? Halfway through the pod?
It's not too bad actually. I'm about like halfway through it.
Oh wow, Hito.
Yeah,
what is happening with you? Can you come over for beers now? As soon as lockdown's over? Lucky
I
D.
like this one.
Okay. I think worth mentioning. Oh yeah, we did mention Mane's goal. I did like that as a goal. It was quite a nice turn and finish. But as Hito said, yeah, there were a lot of shots. So yeah. Anyway,
so Crystal
let's
Palace.
talk about Palace.
Yes.
Yeah. 3-0 to Tottenham.
Dude, I'm loving Conor Gallagher right now. And I'm so glad
Me
he's a
too.
Chelsea player. Like, shit, he looks good.
He's on he was on most set pieces as well, you have to mention. And he just looks like money. And I think that the best is yet to come for him.
I think that, all the doubts that we were having about Crystal Palace came around Zaha being the complete focal point yet again. And that, he just doesn't get excited anymore. I don't know. But Zaha seems up for it. Gallagher seems like a really good player centrally. And he's definitely getting in the box and getting in dangerous areas, has scored some good goals. He missed out on a chance this week, but he got 2 assists. And one of the balls he played through was amazing. I think it was Edouard's second goal.
Yeah, because he won a pen by a handball, so it wasn't much of an assist. So yeah, it would have been that.
The other pass, that was such a nice ball, straight through. I'm impressed.
And he was 1-on-1 with Loris, and all he had to do was basically shape it like a foot either way, and he scores. But now, as we mentioned before, that they may have solved their striker issue. I think that Conor Gallagher and Zaha are just going to benefit from having someone like Edouard, who is a bit ruthless. Not like a Benteke or an Ayew like they previously had.
Yeah,
and I'm really excited to see what Crystal Palace have in the next 5 to 10 game weeks.
I think we'll see typical stuff like we see from kind of like Leeds or whatever. They're a young team now. They're pretty young. Lots of new players in there. They're going to be inconsistent, no doubt. But there's also going to be like some players that really stand out this season. And for me, it's Gallagher, Zaha, Edouard. They're the big ones.
Yeah, and they don't have a fantastic run of fixtures. Liverpool, Brighton, Leicester, Arsenal, Newcastle, City. So they don't look that tempting at the moment. But just after the performance, before they were Tottenham were down to 10 men in the first half, they absolutely dominated. And Tottenham, starting last week at top of the table with their defense, which had basically got them there.
Yeah,
they completely tore them apart.
Yeah, and they took it to West Ham the week before that. So there's signs they can do it against the bigger teams.
The attack is there. And I just think, I think another piece of the puzzle's there. I mean, as we said, the Premier League is super competitive this season, and this just shows it. You know, Crystal Palace have just beaten Tottenham 3-0. I know, red card or not, that's an amazing result. But yeah.
So let's do a prediction, and let's start with Hito, because I don't want to, take away his thunder from the Liverpool side of things. But what are you thinking, boys?
I'm going Liverpool.
Yeah.
You have to.
I think you're going to be outvoted this week, mate.
Oh.
I just think Palace have a history of upsetting you.
What, you saying a draw?
No, I'm saying Palace win. If they're
Palace
going to
to
do it,
win.
Palace win.
Oh my god,
Wow.
you're loopy, mate.
I
Miles?
think that it could happen, but I'm gonna go with my head
Oh.
instead of my heart.
Miles,
gonna
I
go
thought you were going to
Liverpool.
join me in stitching him up.
I'm going a Liverpool win just because our votes count. We've got a little bit of a side bet going as well, and I like Liverpool. I think they're going to have to earn it though.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Okay, now next game, City versus Southampton. City played Leicester and won 1-0. Southampton drew 0-0 against West Ham. So Edison in that game copying a massive boot to the face.
That looked a bit dangerous.
Yeah, that was pretty hectic. But there wasn't really much in this game to get excited about. I mean, Nardo's goal from a fantasy point of view, from a fantasy point of view, isn't exciting. He's not going to play many games. It just, for me, doesn't say much. It was a good game.
No.
Like, Leicester played fucking well.
Oh, yeah. I want to heap praise more on the other side. But City, obviously, were just standard City. I think a big shout out the fact that Sterling was a sub again. Fantasy is an interesting call.
Yeah, and look, he's probably pretty energetic as a super sub, but yeah, they just have so many options. Rotation is just always going to be a problem for people there. And now with Foden also fit again, like he was on the bench this week. I don't know if he came on. I don't think he did, but he'll be back in the mix in the next week or two. So another player to consider, and probably worth just mentioning that he is now back from that injury. And if he's available on your waiver wire, probably worth a punt as a fifth mid.
Same with KDB. He's got no injuries single now.
So there's gonna be a shake up at City for sure. So yeah, if you own City players, be aware of that, and if there's some available, grab them. I doubt KDB is available. Next one, Southampton versus West Ham. I'm surprised by this result.
Man, how do they keep getting results? Like, I was in my mind before the season, I was like, these boys are going down. They look horrible. They've sold Vestergaard, Ings, and like they obviously lost 3-1 to Everton on day one, but then they got a point out of Man U, a point out of Newcastle, which is not amazing, but then a point out of West Ham, so they're getting points.
Yeah, look, they are, and they did make there was some decent-ish signings. I just don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
I just don't see them as a fantasy team right now.
I don't think so either. There's no shining light to really pick up.
No, that's why I don't think we should really spend much time on them this week. Look, West Ham had a pretty off day, and so did Antonio. So I think we can probably just move on and say, it was a blip.
And they've got Man City, Wolves, Chelsea, Leeds as their next four. So,
well, okay, I think this is probably going to be pretty unanimous. I don't mean to try and sway the vote before it's been had, but City to win.
Yep.
Aye. Okay, City to win
convincingly.
6 goals or more.
Who's calling it?
Or 6 goals or more, or 6 goals or less? Who's calling 6 goals or more?
I'll say 6 or more.
I'm saying 6 or more, man.
I want KDB back in there.
Yeah, dude, I think it's gonna get hectic again. That's one of their favorite score lines too. They get to 6. They're like, okay, we should probably stop now. We should stop.
Yeah. Embarrassing.
Okay, beautiful. So Norwich versus Watford is the next one. Talk about a boring fixture.
Yes.
And sorry, Gerd, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Miles's dad is a Watford diehard. And I don't mean any negativity towards them. They just, to me, are not that exciting this season. So Norwich lost 1-0 to Arsenal. That really tells you how they're going to do this season. And Wolves won 2-0 against Watford. So we've talked a bit about that Arsenal game, but anything you guys talk about with Norwich?
Oh, nothing crazy, man. Obviously, last time they came up, they brought a little bit of form with them and they started off okay. We saw like 10 goals from Pukki, I think, across the season, but they are struggling and you do not want to touch them at all. in fantasy. So they're pretty much a guaranteed clean sheet if you verse them. Like I think 3 of the 4 games have been a clean sheet against them. So if you're even just as a random waiver pickup, tempted by clean sheet points at versing them.
Yeah. And look, Watford, typically quite defensive. It'll be an interesting game because I think it'll be pretty open between these teams. I mean, and, let's move on to Watford. They lost 2-0 against Wolves. I mean, they did look lively and, there are chances for some of those players like King, Sarr and Sissoko kind of making their attack look a bit better. But just yet again, I just think when you look at like how competitive the Prem is, they are not at the level. Like this year just seems crazy in the Premier League.
It is very competitive. I think that they've got a couple of games back to back, Norwich and Newcastle, that they can probably get a couple of results from. Maybe a win from Norwich and hopefully a draw from Newcastle for my old man's sake. But I will agree. They don't look great, but they look like they're creating chances.
I think it's harsh to say they don't look great. Like, look, they actually probably are pretty solid. And I think we've mentioned a couple of weeks in a row now that they do look decent. But the competition's too, the level's just crazy this year.
Yeah.
Like, there's teams like Everton and stuff like that that are coming out of the woodwork that are actually playing quite well. And when those teams kind of come and hit form, then it's really hard for these guys to stay up.
Yeah, definitely. Boys, I'll just quickly give you some highlights from this fixture between these two teams just in the last season, because obviously both in the championship. Watford won 1-0 both times.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. And I'd back that result again.
Yeah.
That's what's
good. That leads us in. Let's predict this one. Whitey, you're going a 1-0 Watford, are you?
I
as well. I think you just can't.
Okay, no, you don't. Draw, Hito, when you're saying you don't say as well. You just say I.
I just wanted to reinforce it because I strongly believe it so much.
No, you're getting all the I's wrong.
I have something to say about this.
Okay, Miles, do you agree 1-0?
I was going to say a draw, but I'm outvoted, so we'll go with Watford.
Wow.
We're not liking any draws this week, are we, boys?
Good. I hope you're not listening.
That's why I'm a bit worried, about our little bet. But let's move on to Aston Villa versus Everton. Whitey, what happened to Aston Villa last week?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Now, they lost 3-0 to Chelsea, as that things are going right in the world when that's happening. And yeah, Everton won 3-1 against Burnley, which is very interesting. So Chelsea, fuck yeah, boys, get on it. I mean, oh God, sorry, I'm starting to talk about Chelsea.
He can't help himself.
I got a bit excited there.
There's a time and place, mate. There's a time and place.
Sorry. I will say that Watkins had a very good shot on goal. I will also say that Mendy saved it probably better than the shot was his save.
Yeah.
So, minus that mention. But Watkins did start in this game. Oh, yeah, he did start in this game.
Yeah.
Which is the first from him in this season, basically playing alongside Ings and kind of potentially answering a question we've been having about Aston Villa and how they might line up once Watkins is in the squad. So I think that's probably good for Watkins and Ings owners in general. But the result for Aston Villa is not good, and it's kind of, they're a bit like Leeds to me this season. Like, they haven't had a crazy good start. I mean, Leeds have had a really bad start to the season.
Yeah.
Have Aston Villa got a win yet? Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm being.
They were also missing Martinez this week.
Yeah.
Due to the block from his international quarantine. So, but boys, I think this is a nice. Yeah, and Buendia. I think this is a nice segue of this waiver question someone's sent in to us about a priority of, do you drop an Aston Villa defender who they have Mings? They're looking at Duffy from Brighton, but I guess that's a nice, segue of this question as well as generally, do we think Villa their defense can pick it back up like they were last season?
I need to know the fixtures upcoming, I think. Like, can you just lay
Aston
out?
Villa,
Villa's fixtures.
Aston Villa have terrible, terrible fixtures,
Yeah.
and Brighton don't have the greatest fixtures, but they're still better than Villa's in the next like 5 weeks.
I guess it's longer
Oh.
term too, just because of what Villa produced last season.
I've been having this thought lately from a fantasy perspective, like, and just like a strategy side of things. When you look at the fixtures like this, right? Aston Villa have really crap fixtures. They haven't had a great start to the season. And if you were to drop some Aston Villa defenders right now, pretty unlikely that people are going to pick them back up.
Yeah.
I mean, you are taking a gamble, but it's unlikely. If people know what's going on, then they're probably going to be like, no, none of those guys look very appealing right now. But once their fixtures get good again, they could very much come back. And that's when you really need to pay attention and try and pick those guys back up. So, I mean, for me, yeah. Like, what are Brighton's fixtures? Have you guys got that in front of you?
Yeah,
I've got it here.
You go, Marlo.
It's not. Yeah, so it's Leicester this week, and then Palace, Arsenal, Norwich, City, Liverpool. So they're not great either, but they are slightly better than Villa.
It's
I
really
think Villa has to play everyone now.
I guess my question would be why Duffy more than anything. Like, if this is a waiver question,
I think it's probably just best available.
really,
as one of the. It's a deeper league from the chat,
fair
so
enough.
it's kind of that's. And he's got some okay form. Like, he scored a goal, and now they've got a clean sheet. So it's just and they're quite similar in terms of points. So it's just kind of a.
I would say based off this right now, you could probably drop Mings for Duffy and still pick Mings back up when the fixtures come good. Even like 2 weeks before they're going to come good. If you're really desperate to get him again, then you could get him back. But in saying that, I think right now Duffy is probably the better option to me.
I don't think that Aston Villa can replicate the defense that they did last year. I thought that from preseason. That's why I didn't go with drafting any of them this year. So, and I really like the look of Brighton's defense. So I'd be picking up Duffy in a heartbeat.
Ooh, heartbeat.
Nice. Love those tips, boys.
Okay, Hito, what were you going to do?
I like that too. I think there's a question mark over Villa, and you're either holding it for long term and just securing that, or you can do what you say and take the short term hit and hope that no one else jumps on it.
Yeah, and I mean, like with Mings, like you're not really hoping. Like,
no,
it's a bad run of fixtures. You're probably going to be able to get him back if you want him back, as long as you're proactive about it.
Yeah.
Do what I do. Set reminders in your phone.
Yeah.
Say,
but don't leave town though. Hey.
Oh,
go out of reception.
Don't worry. No one in Australia has got any problem with that right now. No one's fucking leaving
just took
their
me
own
back to that time when you were out in the bush somewhere and you missed the waiver.
Oh, don't start me on that shit. Don't take holidays is all I can say, especially when waiver time's around. And go to places with reception.
It wouldn't have made any difference, you know.
Oh, fuck, I knew you were coming in with that. All right, let's move on. Boo, Miles.
Love it.
I hear drinking.
Everton.
I hear drinking makes the vaccine null and void, so you're in a lot of trouble right now.
All right, buddy.
Don't start.
I'll still be seeing you.
All right, 3-1 Everton. I mean, we spent a lot of time on Aston Villa then, which is probably not the right thing to do because Everton are looking impressive here. I kind of want to get in to
Boys, they have my attention. I know we were.
This is such a big turnaround from you. Like pre-season, you were just shit talking to me. Like
I was. I didn't have a lot of confidence at all, and they've now proved it over the few games. You got to look at the form, and obviously it seems a little bit slow now as people jump on players straight away. But we like to sometimes have a calculated lens of who we pick up, particularly when we've only got maybe one position to play with, and the returns from Townsend, Doucouré, Gray, Richarlison, DCL who?
Yeah. DCL who? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but like this is a game where we don't even have DCL playing.
I know, but I mean, like, there's boys in there.
I know.
Outside of them, they're not the sole.
Exactly.
Hero.
And Burnley are not. I mean, you can look at Burnley and go, "Oh, that's 3-1 against Burnley," but Burnley are a team that are usually pretty fucking solid defensively, and it's not necessarily easy to score 3 goals against them. So, their attack is looking fairly prolific, and Gray has been a big part of that. And Townsend, I think Townsend is hot and cold. I think we've said that before.
Yeah.
And I think from a fantasy perspective, a lot of people are going to jump on him very quickly after seeing how he played. But I think the first person to fall out of that team right now is him. As soon as DCL comes back, and I think that should be said.
Yeah, and the one thing about Gray is, even though you can't take it away from him because he has scored 3 goals, but he's actually had 4 shots and 3 goals from the shots. So it seems like it's kind of like one of those Lingard moments from last season where every time he has a hit, it just goes in at the moment.
Yeah.
So those underlying stats aren't fantastic for him, but I'm not taking that away from him because I would love to have him in my team. But that is something just to look at the moment.
Yeah, look, I agree with that too. And yeah, I think as Gray for me was a pickup. He's basically a 5th mid for me who's performing very well. And I think if there is a shift in form, I'm going to act quite quickly, personally, about trying to pick up anyone else who's maybe looking good. Which I love having a swing midfielder this year because I didn't feel like I had those last year, even though Miles was interesting. Sterling was.
That's what's killing me, and I'm probably going to have to drop Sterling pretty soon, or try to get some sort of value in a trade. But it's actually killing me, guys. It's killing me because I can't really drop a mid, and I can't really drop a defender, and there's plenty of people that I've wanted to pick up for the first 4 game weeks, and I feel like that's probably going to be my demise this season, of not having those swing players to get a Wolves player when they've got this run, yada yada yada. So I mean, I think having a swing player, especially in draft, is probably one of the most essential things that you need.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and it's really hard.
Yeah, it also ties into not getting attached to a name or a player and holding and hoping. It's cutting ties. Mings is not the biggest star, but it's an example of cut your losses.
Yeah, go hard on someone else because they could easily get you the results you need, and you only need them over the next because they come in as your 5th option every time.
Yeah,
like no matter what, they're your 5th. They're your last defender or last mid or whatever. Yeah. And if you need to drop them again when they drop out of form, you pick up the next form player. But this strategy is very much based on our league, which is a 7-man league. In more competitive leagues, it can be probably much more valuable to hold on to players like Mings. So, maybe we didn't look at that with the most perfect lens. But yeah. Can I just quickly say, because Miles just did this motion to say move on, but Doucouré's pass was fucking awesome.
Oh,
we didn't even say that. It was so nice. I was like, oh, he can pass that to my boy all day.
Yeah, he's got a new lease on life, man.
I'm surprised he didn't rip his shirt off for that assist.
Dude, I wouldn't blame him. I'd rip 2 shirts.
He should have chucked a
Oh, okay, mate. Okay, moving on.
All right, let's get a prediction, boys.
And no goal of the season, in there? Townsend's goal, you don't know?
Mate, it was nearly there. It was nearly there.
Okay. All right. Everton versus Aston Villa.
I'm saying draw.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna say draw. I'm gonna say draw as well.
Fuck off. Oh. I disagree.
I think it's gonna be really cagey.
I just have to say I think Everton edges Aston Villa right now for form and everything. But yeah, I'll have to go with you guys.
Noted.
A draw? Oh, I hate predicting draws. I hate predicting.
Boys, we've got to win our money somehow on this multi.
Yeah, true. True. All right, Brighton versus Leicester. Now, Brighton won 1-0 against Brentford, continuing a pretty decent run of form.
Yep.
And they seem to be grinding out results a bit better this season. Leicester lost 1-0 against City, which seems unfair.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Brighton first. Yeah. Boys, Brighton are they're just doing well.
Yeah, I think, we spoke about Brentford before. They had a couple of opportunities, but they probably weren't clear-cut opportunities. And I think that's you got to pay credit to the way Brighton defended. Obviously, it's a lovely finish by Trossard, using
Oh,
the two defenders as a little bit of mannequins just to like
dude,
curl it
holding
around.
right bumper on that one for the finesse shot. Like,
Oh, hell yeah.
Woo!
yeah, I like that shit.
Yep. I like that too.
But I think that this is going to be a really similar scoreline for a lot of Brighton games. I think they'll really hold out in defence, and they might nick a goal here or there. Maybe not against Leicester.
Well, last season, I think things have gone their way a bit, Brighton. Like, maybe they've got a bit lucky at times. And last season, this was a draw.
Yes.
They would have had probably 3 draws by now.
Because it was 89th minute, I think, this goal too. So
things are just falling their way, and
that's what they needed.
It is exactly what they need. But Brighton defense is definitely an interesting fantasy prospect.
Yeah, I just want to give one shout out before we move on to the new defender, Cucurella. He looked quite lively, getting involved, passing for the assist.
La Cucurella.
So
La Cucurella.
yeah, I liked the look of him. Playing that wing back.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I agree.
Okay, Leicester. They lost to City, but fuck, did they look good?
They looked pretty good. Yeah.
I just saw there was just some things in there. Oh, disallowed goals and
throwing their bodies in, man. The defending was in the first half. They just 3 or 4 people sliding in, doing anything they could, and yeah, it's a shame they didn't get some points from that.
And Vardy's offside goal was such a Vardy goal.
So good.
Just let him have it.
So unlucky.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Him not getting that goal was a real bummer from a lot of perspectives. I think special shout out to Schmeichel. He was fucking immense in this game.
Yeah.
Made some amazing saves and, basically kept the scoreline what it is.
Yeah, he did.
Dude, there was one time they were like, the whole City team was in the box.
Yeah.
He was an early chance, and the whole City team is just like, fucking kicking it, trying to get in there so dogged, and they're all just in there.
Man, it's like watching like a under-5s game. Just kids just hacking at the ball.
To me, it was like watching like one of those battle scenes in a movie where like, like the 2 armies collide. And you just like don't even know who's on your side. Like in the battle. You're like looking around, you're like, fuck, just get the ball. And like it was just chaos.
It was pure chaos. But I think we also need to give a little bit of a shout out to Harvey Barnes this week. I thought he looked quite good. Had that chance where he did end up hitting Edison in the face with his boot, but he was throwing himself in there. He put in a really great ball for the Vardy offside goal. He came off the crossbar from a header. Maybe we're starting to see a little bit from him.
Yeah,
maybe, I agree.
Yeah, I think there's signs there.
And they've got some good fixtures, boys. So I'm liking the look of Leicester assets.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Well, why don't we lead into our prediction for this next game? All those who vote Leicester, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh.
No, I'm going
just trying to be you're just trying to be
funny. No, I swear. I really like the look of Brighton's defence. I think that they really could hold out at home against Leicester. And Leicester hasn't really, I know that they looked good against City, but they usually show up against the big teams.
They do.
And I think
that's true.
Breaking down a Brighton defense is going to be a lot harder than, trying to play against, like a Liverpool or a City type thing for Leicester. And I think it's going to be a draw, one of them cagey ones, boys.
Okay, well, Peter and I have outvoted you, so it doesn't matter. But I love your points.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next game. West Ham versus Man United.
Ooh.
West Ham drawing 0-0 against Southampton. Very disappointing for fans.
Yeah, boys. Are they dropping off? What's going on here?
I don't know. Hang on. I'll just let me say the result of the other one.
Okay.
Now, try not to get an erection here, Hito, but United won 4-1. 4-1 against Newcastle. Okay, let's circle back to Southampton versus West Ham. That should get rid of any sort of tense that Hito has going on in his house. Not bad day in the office is what I'd say.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's 2 games in a row though. They drew 2-2 with Palace, now drawn 0-0 with Southampton. Is this the start of the downfall, boys? Is it early season little burst? When we see a team sit in the top 5 for the.
What are their next fixtures?
They've got United, Leeds, Brentford, Everton, Spurs. It's quite tough, actually.
It is tough. It's definitely this is going to be defining for sure. I don't think we're going to see the same prolific goal scoring that we have seen, but I definitely wouldn't rule them out. I just don't see anyone dropping West Ham players right now.
No, not yet, but it's me. I'm starting to question some of my assets.
I think the discussion is we're not rooting for them, or we're not predicting for them to win the Premier League. We're talking about them as fantasy assets, and even against all of those teams that we just mentioned, those hard fixtures, I still think that they can score. So for FPL assets, I'm holding, obviously. Just they have. It's one game. I think it's a blip in the radar for West Ham.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, United is their next game. Why don't we get on to them? Hito.
My boys.
Thomas the Tank Engine. Why don't you just lead us into a bit of United?
Well, they looked good, boys. They took a little while to get that first goal, but once it came, it opened.
He sounds like a United supporter now. They looked good, boys.
Well, it hurt me. It hurt me to say it, but when you got Pogba and Ronnie, and we take fantasy as seriously as we do, it's hard not to get excited.
Yeah, we're very serious.
They're obviously against Newcastle, who weren't amazing. I think that's summed up by Fernandez's goal. The fact that he basically was playing against the keeper only in that shot.
Yeah.
What a goal, though! Oh my god, world class there.
Wait, are you talking about the nutty goal?
No, Fernandez's goal from outside the box.
Oh my god, I loved that.
That was a banger.
It was just like.
And what about his celebration? It was just like, I'm here. I'm here too, boys. Like,
yeah,
it's not just the other Portuguese.
Yeah, mate. I'm a bit younger than him. I'll be around, hopefully a bit longer. No,
yeah, relevant still, but yeah,
such a cracking goal.
Yeah, it was good, but I just don't like how he had a free shot.
I'd agree. Like, they should have closed him down, but it just shows you what a class player he is. That that's almost a given. From that range, and there's not a lot of players that you just go, that's it.
Yeah, that makes it even more unacceptable, I think, for Newcastle.
That for me is that's like leaving Eriksen available in that area. Like, Eriksen was classic for those kinds of goals.
Yeah, he was. So just to round up United, because I know that we've taken a lot of time on this pod, but what do you guys reckon about having Lingard as a fifth mid? I know he's only going to really be coming off the bench, but he's got a lot to prove this season. And I even think if he just gets 20 minutes a game, with a tired defense of what they'll probably be playing after playing against a rampant Man United now that Ronnie's there.
But what happens when Rashi comes back, dude? Like that, Rashi is going to be either competing for a spot, which I think is unlikely. I think he's going to come back once he's properly fit. He'll be in the starting 11 in my mind, but I may be a little biased because I do have him. But then he's competing with Greenwood, who has had such a good start to the season. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think you know what? I think it's going to be Sanchez that actually gets, kind of embedded in the team slowly. I think that you can't leave Greenwood out.
Oh, Sancho.
Oh, sorry, Sancho. Sorry, Sancho. I was throwing back the years to
Alexis is back, baby.
I think Sancho's going to probably be on a bit of rotation with Greenwood and Rashford when he comes back. What do you guys think?
I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. I can't see Rashi not coming in to the team.
Yeah, look, I'm really hoping. I think I'm biased. I do worry about that for sure as a Rashford owner, because the team is so strong right now, and he was kind of playing up front a lot, but he's very capable of playing on the wing. So we'll see. We are going to fucking see.
Let's get a prediction. Let's get a prediction, boys. Oh, it's all silent.
I just left it silent because I normally talk, but I just thought I'll just be quiet.
I'm going to go draw.
I'm going to go United.
United lost against Young Boys during the week, didn't they?
They did, yeah, just
I think
last night.
Did they draw though?
No, they lost 2-1.
Oh, they lost in the end.
Yeah.
Okay, I turned it off.
I'm going to go with, what did you say, Miles? United win.
Yeah.
Fuck, I hate saying a draw, but I'm going with a draw.
I like it though. I honestly like it.
But I don't think it's a goalless draw. I don't think it's a goalless draw.
No, neither.
I think it's
2-2.
Yeah, there we go. Put a score in. Okay, last one, boys. Oh, this is a good game. We love a bit of Tottenham versus Chelsea. It's always a good game. Fuck, it's good. I'm going to miss beating Mourinho, but it's fine. I can do it against Nuno. Palace beat Tottenham 3-0. Thanks, Palace.
Yep.
And yeah, Chelsea won 3-0 against Villa, who I already started to try and talk about. But like yet again, I'm trying to talk about them again. We'll start with Tottenham.
Look, they really didn't look good. Yeah, like even when they had their 11 men on the field, that first half, like I think they had one shot, and I don't even know if it was on target, but Palace had like 8 or 9 in the first half.
Does that just show how important that Sonny is to the team? Sorry,
I think so.
Yeah, and what I was talking to a friend during the game when we were watching it, and when Kane, he's so used to playing this deeper role when he's got the likes of Son to assist and play a little bit more countered that way, and I think that he needs to play a little bit more attacking when Son isn't in the team, and I don't think he was doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big change to the way they play when Sonny isn't there for them. Like it's just, I don't know. That's a gaping hole.
And losing Dyer early for them, I think, really put them on the back foot. I don't think that they were ready to handle that mentally, and it's like I'm not surprised that happened, because sometimes Tottenham's mental capacity drops off when things like that happen.
Yeah, and they're struggling with injuries at the moment. They've got a lot of people as question marks for this coming game.
Sonny, I don't think will be back. Dyer's out. They'll get Romero back, or the Argentinian guy, because he was part of that whole fucking schmozzle.
Yep.
Which will probably be his first start. So still a lot of unknown there. I just feel like Chelsea are going to take advantage of that. And, Kane is 100% capable of scoring a goal in this game, but Chelsea are really good at managing big games. And yeah, I just don't think Tottenham will have it this week.
And I know that Emerson Royale, he looks like he's got a little bit of a hot head, but I did see a little bit of potential in him, and it was his first game, so I think that he is going to make them stronger.
Royale
just depends on how long that Dyer injury is there for. I'm not sure. I haven't looked it up yet, boys.
Yeah, no, I don't actually know either. But yeah, I think Tottenham. Look, you're not getting rid of any Tottenham assets right now. I don't think it's not worth dropping, because they have had a decent start to the season. This is not a great result, and yes, Chelsea, aren't a good fixture for them. But yeah, I think.
Well, let's talk about Chelsea. Let's talk about the boys in blue.
Oh, do we have to? Oh yes, of course we have to. This is the best time in the pod, and what a great way to finish the podcast.
Yeah,
Miles,
let's do it.
Why don't you start? You start.
Well, I mean, Lukaku, he's just so good. I mean,
Lukaku?
he finishes like Lukaku. Yeah. He he didn't actually have that many chances, but he just buries like 2 of the 3 chances I think was created for him.
Yeah.
And
he's just clinical.
He's so clinical. His finishing is amazing. I know,
which is not what we would have said about him. Like, when he was at United, that is the last thing any of us would have said about him. We said his first touch was terrible, and we would have said that he's like not super clinical. And that was definitely at United. He had been clinical in previous, seasons for different teams.
Yeah. I think Conte has just made him into like a lean, mean, like fighting machine, pardon the pun.
Thank you, Conte. He just keeps giving, doesn't he? What a legend.
everyone knows, like how good Lukaku is, but I think we need to look about a couple of other things that's happening at Chelsea at the moment. Obviously, we know that their defense is rock solid. Alonso has kept his spot. I'm not sure how long that's going to be for. Rudiger, Azpilicueta are just definite options and definite trading tools.
Yeah,
I think that you should really be trying to get Chelsea defense, because from game week 7, their fixtures just open the fuck up.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's taking that. I think the strategy for the next 2 weeks is pouncing on avails now to hold until game week 7, because people might be scared by Spurs, City. But for me, as a non-Chelsea fan, there's a bit of rotation happening in there. Like Christensen was rested for the Champions League. Aspi obviously came on as a sub, but
Christensen started in the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean he was rested to play in the Champions League.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, like for me, he was someone I was considering picking up this game week, and I saw the clean sheet, and I was like, oh shit, I missed out on it. And then I saw he was not played anyway. So, I think that's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, Christensen, I think for me is always going to have a question mark. Thiago is such a good player, and yes, he's getting older, but that is probably will be one of the most rotated spots in our defense. The nailed-on players for me are Rudiger, Azpilicueta, and James.
Yeah,
Alonso has direct competition with Chilwell.
But he held his spot in Champions League, though, didn't he?
I know he did, but
it's kind of crazy. It really surprises me, but I think it's because Alonso's really played himself into that team to hold his position.
Yeah,
he has, and he's a strong FPL asset.
And especially against teams that we're going to have to break down. As we said, the fixtures are going to change for Chelsea after these next 2 game weeks, and Alonso is crucial in those games because he gets goals and he's going to be really high up the pitch, especially when we have these fixtures where we're going to be breaking down teams. So Alonso looks like someone to be traded for, because there's no way he's on your waiver wire.
No, he's definitely not. And boys, for me, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the option to jump on a waiver pickup of Kovacic. He played amazing. He looked so good.
Dude, and in the Champions League game, I literally just watched it before we potted tonight. Fuck me, man. His passing to Lukaku, like there's a direct connection right now between him.
This game.
Yeah, but he did it in the Champions League too. Like he didn't get an assist from it, but there's clearly a connection there. But the assist from him in that game, and then also like what a fucking finish. Chip the ball, cross the face of goal. He looks on fire right now.
I mean, in a short league like we have, for example, you can't pick him up, unfortunately. But once you get to the 9 or 10 man leagues, he might be worth a punt, especially for this massive run of fixtures that Chelsea have game week 7 onwards.
You've got to be drawn in by that form. If he's doing it over 2 games and we see that carry.
Yeah, but man, the question mark there is Kante. Like huge question mark for me against his name, because yes, Kovacic will play himself into the team, but there's no way that for big games Kante isn't going to play when he's fit. And on top of that, he's now got Saul to compete with, who had a pretty shocking debut, but welcome to the Prem. And then you've got Jorginho as your other competitor. Like there's only 2 spots in that midfield, and I think he's going to be rotated. And for a player like him, that you're not going to be getting assists and goals every game. Like he's like a JWP for me. Like if he was playing every game for Chelsea, then yes. But and JWP, scored all those points last season.
Yeah.
But for me, Kovacic is going to get rotated, and I don't think he will have enough impact.
But do you think they won't need someone like Kante when they get that really easy run of fixtures, like to be the holder when you're playing as a back 5? Like probably don't need that security in midfield. He can let more attacking play to break down Southampton, Brentford, Norwich.
Maybe, but I don't know. Like Kante, dude, he's like one of the best players.
I know, and it's more just what's needed in the system and what can be sacrificed.
But yeah, look, I don't know. I don't want to spend too much more time on him because, like, I just don't think, for me, he's not. I don't know. I know he's not an exciting option, and
I think it's just an
that's
interesting one to talk about, just because a lot of the others are kind of given and taken. Probably you'd only be trading for.
Yeah.
So he's a new face to maybe be picking up.
I think worth mentioning is Ziyech is playing. He's playing.
Yeah.
He's playing in the Champions League. He started in the Champions League. He started in this game.
Yeah, Mount rested for the Champions League game, or to play in the Champions League game.
I think, Ziyech, Mount, Werner, and Havertz are just going to be on pretty much a rotation basis for those other two positions behind Lukaku.
But there's definitely priority. Like, I think
there is priority.
But there's definitely priority for Mount, for me. Like, I just think he's probably going to be the least rotated of the ones you just mentioned.
I agree, but I think in a team like that, like we've seen in Man City for the last few years, that I don't think anyone's as nailed as they think.
Yeah, true, but not everyone's Pep, dude. Like, Pep's the
but
most ruthless rotator in the game.
But also, not everyone scores, 6 goals a game like City, so you can deal with a player coming off the bench. I don't know if a bench Chelsea players as tantalizing for FPL.
Not right now, no. I mean, look, the goals are clearly coming through Lukaku, and yeah, wow, very happy.
Soon, Hito, soon we'll be having 6 goals a game. Future of English football, right here, Chelsea.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, let's predict this fucker.
Oh, I think it's
all those in favor of Chelsea.
I
wanted Hito to say it first.
You have to be stupid to not.
Yeah, look, I think that's it. Definitely. Why don't we have a go at the score?
I think it's just going to be like 1 or 2-0 randomly.
Yeah.
2-0. Yeah,
I'd agree with 2-0. 2-0.
Yeah.
Okay, boys, that was fun. That's a big pod. Apology for the people who are still here. I hope you enjoyed a bit of very in-depth Chelsea analysis, which we always love to do. Well, at least Miles and I do.
Well, at least we left it at the end this time, so people could have dropped off early.
Yeah. Well, congratulations if you stayed. You won.
Our love and affection.
No, I was just going to say nothing. I was going to pretend like we hung up. All right, boys. Great pod.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Great to see you.
Keep sending in your questions.
Yeah, we love hearing it. Check us. Yeah, hit us up on FPL Draft Boys on Insta, Facebook, and anywhere you can find us. Twitter.
Yeah.
All right, that's it, boys. See ya next week.
Catch you later, guys.
Bye.
Okay, the new prediction thing adds heaps.